So hello again, everyone. And we're going to talk about mailing lists today. We're going to talk about mailing lists specifically for artists and how we can use it, how you can use it in whatever kind of art form you do to get loads of things. So just before we start, the kind of training itself is probably going to be about 45 minutes, I think. And then we'll have more time for questions. So to start with, I'll just say a few words about myself, because I don't know how many of you some of you know me and you've done the crowdfunding course with me, some of you haven't. So I have a course about crowdfunding specifically for artists, and I work with quite a few artists personally to help them and guide them throughout their crowdfunding campaigns. I'm not going to talk a lot about it because we're actually not talking about crowdfunding today at all. But this is just something that's enhancing. It's really important for crowdfunding to work with mailing lists, but it's also really important in general, and it can really, really help you in your journey as artists who need exposure, who need followers, who need to engage their community of followers. So we're going to talk about first of all how to start a mailing list if you haven't got anything, and then what to do with it, how to write in it, what to write in it, lots of questions that you might have, and then also we are going to talk about how to get more subscribers and so once you already have a mailing list, how to get it bigger. So it's kind of like, so we're going to talk about those three things. But before I'm actually going to start, I would love you to use the chat now, which you've all discovered, I think. If you haven't, you can unmute yourself and ask, and we're going to help you. But please write in the chat what you do as artists, as what is your art form. It shouldn't be very long, just kind of like in 1 or 2 words. I'm a dancer, I'm a photographer, I'm a visual artist, whatever that is that you do. And also tell us if you've got a mailing list already, and how does it help you, or how would it help you if you know how to work with it well? Would you want to get from your mailing list? Does that make sense? Would you do? And what would you like to get from your mailing list? How would that help you in your artistic kind of endeavors? So I've got a photographer and a filmmaker and don't have a mailing list yet. So why is it that you're here today? Would you want to get from a mailing list? Anila says, yes, I have a mailing list of about 200. That's quite good. Don't use it. That's a bit less brilliant. I'm a trainee art therapist. You actually probably can all see it, so I don't even need to read it out loud. But I will actually for the recording, maybe. Okay, so we've got Amy, who's an African drumming teacher. Cool. Just started looking at mailing lists as our group has grown, and we're looking to set up a friends of group. Great. Community, and it says community. Scared to use it until I have time to do it consistently. I understand that. I would love to say like a word about it, actually. Okay, I'll say a word about it at the end or at some point. I have a list of about 80. That's good. Okay, so let's start. Not everyone wrote, but that's fine. So Trish says, no proper mailing list, a few random cards, bits of papers, etc. I need a mailing list to update people on my activities, and especially now as I have a big show opening and the space is a garden, so the owner's mailing list is mostly old people. Okay, cool. Great, okay. So before I tell you how you start a mailing list and what you do with the mailing list, on top of everything that you said in terms of what you want from your mailing list, I'll just kind of say a few things that for some of you, some of them are obvious, For some of them, some of them are a bit less obvious. Klaus says, I'm a jazz experimental musician. I have a long list of emails uncounted. Would like to reach people on a regular basis, keep them updated, should be easy to handle and not so time consuming. Cool. Okay. So the first reason you will have a mailing list, which is probably kind of obvious to all of you, is to keep people updated with what you do. Your mailing list, and a good mailing list, should be of people who are interested in what you do, in you as artists, or in you in people as people in general, and they want to keep up to date. They want to know about things that you do, your activities, your projects. And this is a really great way to tell them and to keep them updated. So that's kind of obvious, right? A bit less obvious, or maybe it is when you think about it, but most people don't really think far beyond that kind of, keeping people updated, is that you have a really great platform for exposure, to expose yourself as artist, and also your different projects and different activities. So it's not just a way in which you can tell people about a project, but you can also show them bits of your projects. You can let them read a part of your book. You can let them listen to a track of your music. You can show them pictures from whatever you do, and whatever's relevant to whatever you do. You can actually show them bits of your art. So even if they don't come to consume all of this current project, they were still exposed to some of it. And then they get to know you as an artist more and more, and they might even spread the word. And even if they don't, they know you more as an artist. And we're going to talk about it more soon as well. But this is really important. So it's not just about keeping them updated, it's actually sharing your art with them. And not everyone does it. Some people just kind of like give a list of dates and times or whatever, which is fine. But then they miss a really, really important, great potential of their mailing list. So that's another thing. The next thing is to sell. You can obviously sell through your mailing list. So again, whatever art form you're in, you either sell tickets to your shows, or you sell your books, or you sell your CDs, or you sell, it's a really amazing platform to sell your stuff, because those people are people who are interested in your work already, and they open your email and they want to know. So they probably also want to consume your art. They're probably going to be the first ones to want to consume whatever you do. So this is another amazing thing that's just going to make it a lot easier with a mailing list. And the last but not least, is these are people who will take action in whatever you do. So selling things, buying your work or consuming your work is one action that you might want them to take, that you will probably want them to take. But also they'll do anything. They will support your crowdfunding campaign. This is where I started from, so I'm kind of sharing that. It's probably the most important tool for a crowdfunding campaign, a good mailing list. They'll support your crowdfunding campaign. They will come to see your stuff. They will be exposed to maybe other artists you want to show them. They will go to a demonstration. They'll do whatever. They won't do whatever you ask them to do, but within reason, they're a really good bunch of people to take action in whatever's relevant to your art form. So this is for some, it's really important, or for some kind of moments in your career, like a crowdfunding campaign or like a collaboration with another artist. So for moments in your artistic career, it's going to be very important, and those are the people to support you and take action. By the way, give you advice, give you feedback. That's also You might not want to ask for feedback from people, but maybe you do, or maybe you want to ask for ideas, or whatever it is. You want to do a project with the general public. They're going to be the first ones that you can approach to, because they already are going to be involved in what you do, and they're going to be very, very happy to contribute. So that's that. So now that you're also excited and you just want to have like a really good mailing list to do all of that, we're going to start with how to start a mailing list. So for those of you who don't have any mailing list whatsoever, or have some business cards or bits of paper and all that, how do you do that? So first of all, so you need a list of emails. That's a mailing list, right? A list of emails of people who are interested in your work. Okay. Don't try and kind of get like, if you go to your email account, you have a long list of contacts. Don't just kind of copy paste it, because most of them are going to be people who are absolutely not relevant to your artistic career. It's illegal to do it, but also it's going to create like a really bad mailing list for you. It's going to be a mailing list of mostly people who are not interested in what you do, and you annoy them. So this is a mailing list you don't want to create. What you do want to do is take a few good hours a day, maybe even longer than a day, depending on your kind of networks. And you go through different groups of people in your life that are going to be interested in what you do. So it's going to be friends and family to start with. So create a list of emails of those people, and don't put them straight away in your mail. I mean, it depends on your relationship with them. If they're really close to you, they're good friends, you can just put them in your mailing list. They're probably going to be happy to be there. And if not, they might tell you. And if not, they might just kind of suffer quietly, because they're really good friends of yours. So that's kind of one group of, but if there's like people that you kind of know, but you're not sure if they would like to be in your mailing list or not, you can send them all one email, one kind of initial email before you put them in your actual list, to tell them, I'm now starting a mailing list. This mailing list, those people are going to get updates. I'm going to share a bit of my project with them. I'm going to, whatever you think you're going to do in your mailing list, would you like to be on my mailing list? I'm going to be really happy if you are. Just reply to this email and say yes, and then I'm going to put you in. If you don't reply to the email, don't worry about it. I'm not going to do it. You can also do it the other way around if you want. You can send an initial email and say, I have put you in my mailing list. If you want me to take you off, reply to this email and ask me to do it. I'm not going to be offended. This is fine. Both options are fine. It's just kind of to do with your relationship with the people and with what you feel comfortable with more. Obviously, the second options will get you more people in your mailing list, because some people are just not going to respond, or some people will want to be on your mailing list but not enough to actually reply and say yes, so you're going to lose those people. So it kind of depends on what you decide. Both options are fine. Legally, you're allowed to, it's just kind of, I'm going to go back to it because it's not the only people you can get to your mailing list, but just kind of, because I forgot to say it in the beginning, I'm going to say it now. Legally, you're allowed to email people who are either friends and family, or they're your clients. And by clients, that means they, at some point, purchased something from you. So it could be a book, a ticket, CD, whatever that is. Even if it was free, I think. As long as it was done kind of officially and they took something from you and they gave you their email address, you're allowed to email them. You're allowed to email them with a condition that they do have a very easy way to unsubscribe themselves. If you use any email marketing software like MailChimp or others, they will have it automatically. Any email marketing software will have that option automatically at the bottom of your email. So if you use any of those, you don't need to worry about it. And I do recommend using a software. Again, I'm digressing. I'm going to go back to it in a minute. But yeah, so that's kind of just to put your mind at ease about things and just to create some sort of order in things. So these are going to be the two biggest groups who are going to form the core of your initial mailing list: your friends and family, and your potential and your past. Call them clients. I'll call them audience. That's more kind of relevant, right, to us. So your past audience, that could be consumer of your artwork in whichever kind of capacity it was. But other places you can get more people is to post it in Facebook. Say, I'm starting a mailing list. I'm going to do this and this and that. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. You should be on it. If you want it, send me your email in private message, and then you get a few email addresses like that. So you can put it in Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and wherever you are. So it's okay because we finished kind of a chapter of how to get your initial mailing list. We're going to talk about what to do with a mailing list.
Right. So what do you do with your mailing list? Good question. So first of all, you write to them, right? You use them. I'm gonna answer. Just take a second to answer about what Anila said before. Was it? Yeah, Anila, right? You said I don't want to start using the mailing list before I can do it consistently. And I understand this fear. It is very important to be consistent with the mailing list. It's very important. However, it's even more important to do something. So even if you're not going to be super consistent, even if you think you're not going to do it perfectly, that's kind of to do with loads of other things generally in what we do, in work, in career, in art. Do something. Something is better than nothing. Even if you're not going to do it consistently, but you start doing it. So you're going to send one email and then you forget about it. And the next month you might send another short email. And then you're going to do it the following week, and then you're not going to do it for 2 months. It's not great, but it's much better than nothing. And some people are going to get it, and some people are going to open it and are going to read it. So when you do start doing it consistently, this is when some people are going to remember you already. What's happening now? God. Okay. Everything's fine. Okay, so where's the chat now? Probably need to see the chat. Okay, good. Right. So that's first of all a really important thing. So I'm happy you said it, Anila, because I wouldn't have said it otherwise. I wouldn't have thought of it, but it's just from my experience, it's just so important to just do, even if it's not perfect. It's probably never going to be perfect, and you're probably never going to do it perfectly, especially not in the beginning. But just do it. So how to use it? First of all, write to people as if you're talking to them. I say a lot in crowdfunding campaigns as well. Try and use language that's not too official, or the terminology is not too professional. Just write to people as if you write an email to a friend. So you just keep them updated and kind of say, oh, I've done this and that, and now I'm going to do this. Make it kind of clear, but use language that is not so sophisticated, it's not too official. Lots of people kind of take their mission statements from their website, or they kind of use a really high language as if they're writing to the Arts Council. Don't do that, because people are not going to read it, and even if they are going to read it, it's going to be boring, and it's going to be hard to kind of keep track on it. It's the next email they're probably not going to even open. So write it in really easy spoken language and give them interesting information. And of course, interesting information is different from one to another. But give them something that, on top of you just giving them info and updating them about your tour dates, or where you're going to perform, or what you're going to, what you wrote, give them some sort of value in there. So it could be, value could be so many different things. It could be actually sharing a part of your art, of your current project or a past project, a photo that you took, a track that you recorded, a chapter of your new book, whatever it is that is a part of your work. Value can also be just a thought that you had that you want to share with them. So something a little bit more personal, a bit more engaging, and a bit more enriching. People really value that because we live in an age where there's like so much around us and so much info. And info is not interesting anymore as just that. So we want to get some sort of something interesting and something enriching. And people who are going to be on your mailing list are people who want to develop. They like art, they're interested in people's journeys, so they're going to be interested in yours as well. So just share something with them. And how personal it's going to be is absolutely up to you. It's to do with your personality, and your personality is something that should be there. So I can't tell you, make it really personal, talk about your kids and your holidays. Some people do that. Or make it really professional, just talk about your art. Some people do that too. Or make it funny and kind of write it in a like funny with sense of humor. Some people do that too. But it's all down to your personality. So be genuine with who you are and what you want to share and how you want to write it. And the more, when you start doing it, and don't get super stressed over it in the first few emails, because you might just kind of starting to understand who you are in emails to your mailing list, because who you are to your mailing list is a bit different to who you are in a pub with your friends or in a performance as an artist. And you're going to take time. It's going to take time to find it. Does that make sense? I hope this makes sense. So maybe in a few first emails, you're going to kind of change your style of writing. One email is going to be really funny. The other one's going to be really spiritual, or whatever it's going to be. But eventually you will find that kind of your own kind of flavor. And the more emails you write, the more kind of consistent this flavor will be. And people who like this flavor, who connect to that, will open your emails time after time because they know this is what they get and they like it. So just, again, even if you don't know what it is yet, it's not going to be perfect in the beginning. Just start doing it. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, the easier it's going to be for you, because in the beginning it might take you a whole day to write one email, and that's okay. Then it's going to take you 2 hours. Eventually it might take you half an hour, 20 minutes, or maybe 2 minutes, depending on what it is. Some emails can be like a sentence, that's it, and you send it with a link and you send it out. So it will be easier, it will be quicker with the time. It will be time consuming in the beginning. It'll be a little bit less time consuming the more you kind of practice it. So that's that personality. Keep your personality in there. It's really important for your audience, because you're an artist, you create art, and you want people to consume your art. And your art is obviously influenced heavily by your personality. So this is it's all very relevant to you and to your art. Let me see so there's 2 more things. If it's relevant to you, or if it's possible for you, keep the email visual. Especially if your art is visual, like if you're a photographer or a fine artist, or even a theatre maker, so you can show photos, or filmmaker. So if it's possible, make it visual. So put something that's going to be interesting to look at as well. So it's not going to be just a bunch of words. that bunch of words, make it easier to read. So kind of spread it out, make shorter sentences if possible. Take one line gap between the different paragraphs. Everything it takes to kind of, then it becomes really long. But if it's spread out, it's much easier to read, and people will read long emails that are spread out rather than shorter emails that are all bunched up. So do that. That's really important as well. The last thing I'm going to say about, is it going to be the last thing? Let me just check, sorry. Okay, yeah. Last thing about this is that even if you do it perfectly brilliantly, there's one important thing that you need to know, because people, even if your email is perfect, if people didn't open it, they didn't get to read it, and you lost them. So your subject line is super important and quite crucial. It's not enough if you have brilliant subject line but really rubbish emails after that. People are going to stop opening your emails because they know what they get when they open it, right? But your subject line is important because it will get people initially to open your first emails. So subject line needs to be interesting. Again, I can't tell you what it's going to be. Some people give out templates of like subject line. I think it's all a bit strange. It needs to be, again, personal, to do with your personality and what you do. But what you mustn't do, and you have to promise me not to do it, is do not have a subject line as newsletter 13 February. Don't do that. I don't care the number of your newsletter, and I know the date, and I know what date it is. So I do want to know a little bit about what you're giving me inside this email. Yeah. And try not to make it too dry, like a new performance coming, whatever. That's okay. Try and make it a bit more interesting if you can. If you can't, that's fine. Again, once people start opening your emails and they like your emails, they're probably going to open your email almost with any subject line, because they know they like your specific emails and they're interested to know what you're writing to them. So this is more important than a subject line, but a subject line is still important. Right. And last thing, which is quite technical, it's not so much what to write, but it's, if possible, make sure that people are getting your emails. A lot of people, a lot of mailboxes are going to classify your email, because it will come from an email marketing software. They're going to classify it as junk mail or promotion email, and they're going to put it either in the promotion tab or worse, in the junk mail, which people are not going to even see. So try and make sure, and there are different ways to do it, that people are getting your emails. You're never going to get 100% of your emails going into actually people's main inboxes. It's not going to happen. A lot of inboxes are going to just classify it as not an email, but you can make it a bit higher. You can make the percentages of people getting it a bit higher. If people have Gmail, then they'll send and probably any MailChimp to the promotion tab. You can ask them in your first email to them. You can ask them to click on open their promotion tab, and click on your email and drag it to the inbox. And if they do it, they might not do it, but if they do it, it means that now every future email they get from this mailing list from you, they'll get into their inbox and not to their promotion tab. So that's one way to do it. Just ask people to add your email into their contact list. That's another way to do it. And what I do with, because I teach theatre, some of you know me from there as well, and what I do with my students, and it's really important for me that they do get my emails, because they're all students who've been to my classes before. is when they sign up to their very first class, which is probably going to be a taster class to start with. When they sign up for that, I send them, I have to close this. I send them a private email from my Gmail box, which is their email account recognizes it as a private email. And they will probably open it. I send them email just with information about the taster class. Of course, I need to send them this email anyway, but the byproduct of that is that they open my email, and then every future email, and they might even respond to it. Some people kind of reply to it. So that means their email box recognize my email address as a private kind of correspondent. Does that make sense? And then it even marks it as an important email they need to pay attention to, because it's someone they know. So if you can do something like this, so initially when someone signs up to your mailing list, you can send them, the first email you can send them can be private. If you don't have so many people signing up, you can do it. It's not so much work. If you can't, or you think you're not going to be bothered to do it, or you can forget about, it's fine. Don't worry about it too much. Yeah, it's just another kind of trick for people to get your emails. That's that. If you've got any questions about this, about what to write, how often to write, is also up to you. I would recommend not more than once a week. I would appreciate from your type of list, which is in like artistic journey kind of sharing. I would appreciate an email once every either 2 weeks or up to a month. Not more than a month, because then you keep your followers they kind of forget about you. So between great, Corinne. Between 2 to 4 weeks, I would do that. Again, if you think you're going to forget, you haven't sent an email in 6 months, don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up. Just, say, okay, send an email. It's fine. It's still better than nothing. Still, one email a year is better than nothing at all. Okay. But ideally, 2 to 4 weeks is great. Again, that's my recommendation. It's to do with your personality as well. If you're someone who loves to share all the time, you need to share it, to send it once a week or once every 3 days, do it. If people don't want it, they're going to unsubscribe. And then you will stay with a group of people who are interested in who you are, because this is a part of who you are. I hope this makes sense. So the last thing I want to... how long are we going already? I'm not sure. If anyone knows, let me know so I know how long we've got, because I didn't look. 1:30, great. Okay, it's great. We've got about 20 minutes left. So the last thing I would like to tell you about in this training is how to get more subscribers. So after you've got your first kind of core list of emails, or mainly people who know you, either as a person or as an artist, and you kind of got the hang of how to do it. Now you wrote a couple of emails. Now you do want to get to the business of getting more followers, because this is what it's about. This is about you getting, as an artist, get your work exposed in front of more people. So to do that, you will need to... So first of all, you can definitely use, again, platforms like Facebook, Twitter, all of that, those social media platforms. You can definitely from time to time just kind of post a little thing, says, if you want to be in my mailing list, I've just sent this and that, or I'm about to send a track of my first album, or my whole first album for free. I don't know. I'm just about to do this. If you want to sign up to my mailing list, do that. So you can use social medias, but you can also create a specific landing page. And if you don't know, okay, Timothy, I'm going to answer that in a second. So if you don't know what a landing page is, it means a page is an online page which can be a part of your website, or just a completely separate page you can get. And there's many different softwares who do that. Some emailing marketing software actually have landing pages as well. And this landing page should have nothing on it apart from an invite to join your mailing list. Basically, a landing page is a page where the user can only do one thing, can only do one action. And in our case, it is to subscribe to your mailing list. So you can write something about you want to get to, I don't know, you keep updated with my work. Okay, let's keep it kind of clear and dry even. Keep updated with my work. If you want to hear more about what I do, sign up to my mailing list, put a nice photo, put a form. You put a form where people can enter their email and name, and then they're automatically part of your mailing list. So that's a landing page. And then you need to go out and kind of spread it out. And then landing page, you can put a link to on Facebook in your mailing list so they can send, so your current followers can send this page to other people, obviously on your website. But how do you get, so Timothy, I'm going to write your question down so I'm not kind of, I'm going to talk about softwares in a second. The best way to get more subscribers, so to get people to actually be interested in your landing page, is to attach it to some sort of value that you're giving people. And this value can be, if you're a musician, it can be an EP that you're giving people, or a music track. If you're an author, it can be a chapter of your book. If you're a photographer, it can be a whole, series of photographs something that you want to give people. And in order to get it, all they need to do is to subscribe to your mailing list. Your first email to them will be an email with the thing that you promised to give them. Yeah. So your first email will have an attachment of that track of music or photos or a book or whatever that is, or a DVD or YouTube clip of I don't know, even training that you can give people. Yeah, if that's relevant to your kind of art form, you might want to teach people how to do something. Great, Amy. Yeah, I'm going to share this whole thing. It's recording now, and hopefully, fingers crossed, everything's good. I'm going to share it with you guys. I'm going to send it all by email. So anything valuable that you can give people that is going to be interesting for your audience, you can put it on your landing page, put this offer on your landing page, and people are going to subscribe to that. And then this landing page you will need to then share on Facebook and social medias with people, with your friends in all different ways, and then get new people, new subscribers like that. I hope this makes sense. This is this is one of them. I'm going to share two ways with you. So that's one of them. The second way is to do a collaboration with another artist who has a mailing list. Now, this does not mean you just swap your mailing list and you give each other your mailing list. Do not do that. Again, in any way, don't just paste email addresses of people who don't know who you are into your mailing list, because that's not only thanks, Netta. Great. Not only it is, I lost my line of thought now. Not only it's illegal, first of all, you're not allowed to do it. But the second thing is that you're going to have people in your mailing list who don't want to be there, who don't know who you are, who don't know how they got there, and you're going to be annoying to them. So you don't want to do that as well, not even from that kind of point of view. So what do? You collaborate with this other artist who has a mailing list, and you ask them to, you both do it to each other. You are going to tell your mailing list about that artist and tell them, this is a great artist I know, he's a good friend of mine, or I just got to know her, or whatever that is, and she's now giving away whatever that is, and you give a link to her or to his landing page so they can subscribe to their mailing list if they want to. Okay, and then they're not a stranger. They know who, they know how they got there. And that other artist is going to do the same for you. It's going to email to their entire mailing list and say, I know this artist, they're really brilliant, they're now giving away whatever that is. Here's a link. If you want to do that, please go grab it because it's great. I've just listened to it. It's brilliant. So their people from their mailing list are probably going to do it. And then they're going to join your mailing list. So this is really kind of super focused, and in a very short time you're going to get like bang loads of emails all of a sudden. Like 1 day, 1 to 3 days, you're going to get all of those emails of people who were interested in doing that, which is great. So that's a second tool to use, and please keep that in mind. So obviously kind of you need to start your mailing list before, so you need to have some sort of mailing list going on to do that. It doesn't need to be massive, by the way. So if you have 200 people in your mailing list and there's another artist who has, you know, a similar amount of people there, then you can definitely do that. Even if you've got 50 people or 30 people in your mailing list and there's another artist with similar amount of people, you can do that. Why not? Then you get 10 more people. Hooray, it's 25% of your mailing list. So you can do that in any kind of, it makes sense to do it with artists who have mailing lists kind of in similar size to yours. But even that's not a rule. Like whoever's happy to do it with you, it's great. Why not? It's more exposure for you and for them. So this is, I think, actually I had another thing. No, that was that for what I planned to say. Now, Timothy asked me about software, so I'm going to be really brief about it, mainly because there are loads and loads of softwares for email marketing. I personally use MailChimp because it's good and reliable and a very big. Netta, are you here? Because it's saying says to stay free. Okay, if it does kick us out again and we haven't finished, we do have 10 more minutes, so I think we should be fine, really. But if it does kick us out again and we haven't finished, we can go back here and maybe just even say goodbyes. But I think in 10 minutes we can just do a couple of questions and kind of call it a day, because we finished most of it anyway. So I use MailChimp because it's a very big kind of company, very big service, and it's reliable. It's got all of the functions I need, most of the functions I need, by the way, not all of them. They don't have landing, I think they don't have landing pages, but they do have forms which you can then embed into your website or a different landing page. And B, because they are free to use if you've got a list that is less than 2,000 people. And 2,000 people is quite a big list. So if you've got anything that's kind of 100 people, 200 people, 500 people, you can still use MailChimp for free, and it's great. And if you've got more than 2,000 people, no service is going to be free. And you can then choose, maybe, you can change. Also, there are a few more email marketing softwares. One of them that I know is VI Plus. I haven't used them. I'm writing here, I think it's viplus.com. Maybe they have .co.uk, I'm not sure. It should be, I kind of use them only to create landing pages. And this is why they're good. They're only free for, I think, up to 200 people, unless they changed it, which is still all right for some of you. It's still free for some of you. And even if it's not free, it's not so expensive as well. It might be worth it anyway, because they, in addition to the fact that they've got like their normal kind of email marketing service, they also have you can also create landing pages. So even if you don't have a website, or you don't know how to do it on your website and you're all quite confused, they just make it super simple and super easy to create a landing page within their software. And if you want to get a hack and you've got a big mailing list, you can even create you can even work with both VI Plus, get people through the landing pages you created in VI Plus, get people to your mailing list, and then transfer them into MailChimp into a bigger list and delete them from VI Plus. Does that make sense? It's completely legal. It's fine. People don't care, and they're not interested in knowing which email marketing company you're using. And it's fine. You can do that. Maybe it's not, maybe it's a bit unfair for VI Plus. I'm not sure, a bit. But it's illegal and it's fine, and you can do it. Or if you don't want to bother with all that, just make an account there if you need landing pages, because they make it really easy and really brilliantly. So that's kind of my other suggestion. Otherwise, there's loads more. I'm not saying those two are the best. There's loads more I don't know. And yeah, that's it really. Anything else? Any more questions? We've got 6 whole more minutes. So any more questions about stuff that I talked about stuff I didn't talk about? This is really kind of, another thing I want to tell you. Great, Timothy, thanks. So another thing I wanted to tell you is that in MailChimp and some other software as well, I'm not sure about VA Plus, I think they do as well, they've got an automation email, which means that people who subscribe to your mailing list, they can, if you choose to, they can get an automatic mail as soon as they subscribe. So if you promise to send them something, you can put it in the automated mail. Not every email marketing company will give you that for free, but MailChimp do, and I think VI Plus do as well. So that's a really important kind of feature to check whether you get it or not, because if you get subscribers based on the fact that you're going to send them something, you don't want to then be tied to your computer and kind of every day start sending people stuff. You want it to be done automatically, so you don't need to worry about any of that, and it all kind of happens without you. That's the great thing about those softwares. Great, that's it. So unless anyone's got, so Claire says, can you repeat the main points of linking up with another artist, please? Well, just link up with an artist that you appreciate, that they probably have a similar size list to them. And what you do is you tell your mailing list about that artist and give your mailing list a link to their landing page, and they're going to do the same for you. So some of your people in your mailing list will then subscribe also to the other artists' mailing list, and some of their people are going to subscribe to your mailing list. Is that good? Did that answer your question? Great. Got it. Great. Great. So that's about it, I think. I'm going to send you, again, we've got 4 more minutes. If there's another question, you can do it now. Hopefully it's helped. I will send you a recording. Again, fingers crossed, everything's technically fine. It might take a few days to do, but you'll get it. And anything else, if you want to, what do you use? Do you use automated mails? So I use MailChimp, as I said, and I use automated mails when I have something to send out. Does that make sense? So when I promise something, like a training or a video or anything like that, I do use the automated mail. So if someone subscribes to get that, then I do it. Even if it's people who are already on my mailing list, yeah. But I want to give them a gift of like, an hour training for something. I will then send them to a landing page, so they can get an automated mail with that gift. Does that make sense? So I know who get the specific gift. I'm not just sending it out to everyone. I might do that if I choose to do that, but if I want to know who's interested in what, then I'll send them to a landing page. So even though they're not new subscribers, they're still going to get an automated mail, and they still will then get probably to a different kind of subgroup in my list. MailChimp lets you do what? So MailChimp will have a feature of sending automated mails, if that what you meant. They don't have landing pages, so you'll need to create the landing page somewhere else and then put a form of MailChimp. Thanks, it was nice. That's great. Great, brilliant, Klaus and Anila and Timothy and Corinne and whoever's here, I don't know your name, Ed Killingback. Thanks for being here, and I hope you have a brilliant day, and I hope you do use that. Again, even if it's not perfect, just do some, just send one email.